Christmas tradition meant someone wouldn't see the new year. Every Christmas Eve, my family would find a homeless man outside the Pine Street shelter. Dad would pull up in his cleanest shirt. Mom would step out looking like a church lady, and they'd scan the crowd for the right person. Someone alone, someone who looked beaten down enough to say yes to anything. Someone who wouldn't be missed if they didn't come back for a few hours. They'd offer him dinner, warmth, and $100. They always said $100 to get them in their car. I grew up thinking this was charity, that we were good people, opening our home to the less fortunate. Mom would spend all day cooking. Turkey, ham, every side dish you could imagine. The good china came out. The house smelled like rosemary and brown butter. By age 7, I was assigned to set the table, making sure the homeless man's place setting was perfect. The fork placement mattered, Mom said. Everything had to be exact. What happened next was always the same. The man would arrive, usually clutching a backpack with everything he owned, often shaking, sometimes from cold, sometimes from withdrawal, sometimes from fear. They'd always look confused by how nice everything was, how normal we seemed. Dad would take their coat, hang it up carefully. Mom would offer them the good soap to wash up. For the first hour, it was perfect. We'd chat about the weather, about football, about nothing. The man would start to relax, start to smile. That's when Dad would give the signal. He'd tap his wine glass 3 times with his wedding ring. Time for grace, he'd announce. And that's when everything shifted, because our grace wasn't a prayer. It was what my family called the confession. The homeless man had to stand up and confess every sin, every failure, every moment that led them to the streets. If they refused, no money. If they stopped, no money. If they cried too hard to continue, no money. My grandfather started it 40 years ago, said it was about earning redemption through humiliation. By the time I was 13, I'd watched 6 different men break down at our dinner table. Harold, who sobbed about losing his daughter to foster care. Big Jim, whose hands shook as he admitted to stealing from his mother before she died. Francisco, who could barely speak English but understood enough to know what we wanted. Each year got worse. My older brother started recording them on his phone. My cousins would ask invasive questions. Did you ever sell your body? Have you hurt anyone? Why don't your kids talk to you? The man from when I was 15 still haunts me. Samuel. He was young, maybe 25, with cigarette burns on his neck he tried to hide with a dirty scarf. When Dad tapped the glass, Samuel stood up like he'd been through this before. Different house, same game. You want me to degrade myself for money? He said quietly. I get it. I'll do it. But can the kids leave the room? Dad laughed. Said the children needed to learn about consequences. Samuel looked right at me when he started talking. About foster homes where awful things happened. About self-medicating with whatever he could find. About the assault that happened last week under the bridge. My Aunt Martha was taking notes like it was a sociology lecture. When Samuel finished, my family applauded. Dad slid a 20 across the table. That's it? Samuel asked. You said 100. That was before we knew what kind of man you really were. Dad responded. Samuel didn't argue. Just took the 20 and asked if he could take some leftovers. Mom packed him 2 sandwiches. No turkey though. That was for family only. But when I was 17, I found out Samuel had died. Froze to death behind a dumpster 3 blocks from our house 2 weeks after our dinner. I saw it in the newspaper at school. The photo showed him wearing the same scarf. The article said he'd been trying to get into a warming center but didn't have the $25 entry fee. $5 short of what my family gave him for his humiliation. I threw up in the school bathroom. Then I did something I'd never done before. I went to the Pine Street shelter myself. The workers there knew about my family. Turns out we were infamous. The Christmas vultures, they called us. Every year men would come back traumatized. $100 richer but somehow worse off. The shelter had tried calling the cops, but technically nothing illegal was happening. Just cruel. December 23rd, I decided to warn whoever they picked. I waited outside Pine Street at 3:45 before my family arrived. But then I saw something that made my blood freeze. My parents were already there, earlier than ever, and they weren't alone. My mom was talking to someone I recognized, Matt, from my shift at McDonald's. He'd been living in his car for 2 months after his apartment burned down. He wasn't even at the shelter. They'd found him at his usual spot by the dumpsters where we threw out the old food. He was wearing his uniform under his coat. No, I said, running over. Matt, don't go with them. My parents' faces went from confusion to rage. Sweetie, Mom said through clenched teeth. What are you doing here? I work with him. I turned to Matt. Don't do this. I'll give you $20 right now. 30. Whatever you need. Matt looked between us, confused. Your daughter is very generous, he said to my parents, but they already offered 200. I'm going with them. Full story on channel link below.